Good morning. The poet I've chosen for this morning is a very interesting character called Gerry Murray. He was born to an Anglo-Irish family in Milford House near the Mayo-Galway border in 1927. His father was an official, a colonial official, and Murphy was therefore educated in England and at the Sorbonne. In 1954 he returned and settled in Cleggan, on the coast of Galway, and a few years later he bought a traditional Galway hooker, the Ave Maria, which he used to ferry visitors to the Inishbofin for a day's fishing. Now, over the year, the poet, the boat and the landscape, that magnificent landscape, attracted the flotsam and jetsam of humanity, including many literary persona. The critically acclaimed American poet Theodore Ruthka and his model wife, Beatrice, arrived for a few days, and they stayed 2 months. And this poem, The Poet on the Island, by Gerry Murray, is dedicated to Theodore Ruthka. On a wet night, laden with books for luggage and stumbling under the burden of himself, he reached the pier looking for a refuge. Darkly he crossed to the island 6 miles off. The engine pulled, the sails invented rhythm, while the sea expanded and the rain drummed softly. Safely on water, he rocked with a new theme, and in the warmth of the mind's greenhouse bloomed a poem nurtured like a chrysanthemum. His forehead, a Prussian helmet, moody domed, relaxed in the sun. A lyric was his lance, to be loved by the people, he a stranger hummed. In the herring store, on Sunday, crammed with drunks, ballads of bawdry and a speakeasy stress, yet lonely they left him, one of the Yanks. The children understood. This was not madness. How many orphans had he fathered in words, robust and cunning, but never heartless. He watched the harbour scouted by seabirds. His fate was like poetry under poetry's beaks. Words began weirdly to take off inwards. Time that they calendar in seasons, not in clocks, in gardens dug over and houses roofed, was to him a seesaw of joys and shocks. Where his body withered, but his style improved, a storm shot up, his glass cracked in a gale, an abstract thunder of darkness deafened. The listeners he'd once given roses, now hail. He'd burst the lyric barrier, logic ended. Doctors were called, and he agreed to sail.